Recently on a live stream, I saw a fake pop-up. I called the number and let the scammers have access to a virtual PC. The company were called Max PC Experts, and they downloaded something called System Diagnostic Tool. This indicated I had malware, spyware, and adware, but of course I knew it was fake because this was a clean machine with all the necessary security software installed. So I dug deeper to see exactly what this software was doing and who actually produces this software. As it happens, it's this guy. So who is he and how does this scam work? Watch on and find out. So I downloaded the tool from the same location that the scammer had used, and it can be found on a website called safeapps.com. The name of the executable is sdt_happy, and that's because there's two versions of this software, as it turns out. The happy version requires a username and a password to install. So this is where it gets interesting. This is the digital signature of the software. It's needed because it's got its own installer, and you can see an address in Aberdeen, and obviously the name of the company who produces it, and it's called SparksGen. We'll come back to that address in Scotland in just a moment. When you install the software, as I said, it requires a username and a password. As I explained in my live stream, I've got a keylogger running, and I was able to get this username and password, which the original scammer had used, and I reinstalled it as the scammer had done. Now, once it was installed, I had expected to have to do some very low-level debugging to understand exactly what this software was doing. But as it turns out, they had been very lazy, and I didn't have to do a lot of reverse engineering. In fact, all of the relevant files I needed were sitting in the installation directory. The one that I needed in particular is called systrace.xml, and that's a very readable text file. So here's the relevant piece of that XML file. There's a line called stability fix date, and when the software is initially installed, it comes with an invalid date format. In fact, it should look like the one on the right. If the date looks to be invalid, all the software will do is throw up a random number of errors for each of the things it claims to be reporting on. And when you click on Fix Issues, it will change the stability fix date to the current time. And when that happens, the program simply reports that there are no more errors. So it's extremely easy to demonstrate that the software does nothing, because all you need is a valid date in the configuration file and the software will display no errors, whereas if there's a blank or an invalid date, it will always throw up loads of errors on your computer. So therefore, the software is completely fake, and if anyone was relying on this software to keep their machine safe, or who has purchased such software, I'm afraid they've been a victim of fraud. One of the other configuration files is also of interest because this controls where the software verifies the username and password used for installation. It's on the safeapps.com website, and it's one of a suite of web services. If we have a look at that URL, you'll see some interesting other web services, including something called Browser Hijacker, Browser Hijacker Trace Record, and Browser Hijacker Stop. I believe these are part of and used by the pop-ups that will be seen to attract people to phone these scammers in the first place. It also contains details on other services and other companies which seem to use the same web services. So there are examples of things like Maxware iBooster, which is another software product, Registry Booster, and other companies like SendSomeSoft, TechSecure, which all seem to be related to the safeapps.com website. They also have something called Christmas Browser Hijacker, which seems to be a new campaign which I haven't seen yet, and no doubt we'll see in these pop-ups in the future. So let's take a closer look at SparksGen Limited. A simple Google search throws up the address of this company. If you have a look about where it's located, it's in 89 Urquhart Road, which on Google Maps and Street View doesn't look very much like a software development hothouse to me. However, it could well be related, an address related to someone in this company. So if we go back to Google and search again for SparksGen Limited, the top entry that's available in Google is in Companies House. And again, it seems to be a dissolved company, and it's got one officer associated with that company. and it's someone called Sushant Mato of the same address. And Sushant seems to be quite a busy guy. He's in software development, he's an Indian national. And when we look at the appointments against Sushant, he seems to be involved with 6 different companies, some of which have been dissolved, some of which are active. SparkGen itself has been dissolved, but he also seems to be a software development officer for Long Run Software Limited, and we'll have a look at that one in just a second. But some of his other appointments are interesting as well. There's a company called Benovellient Technologies, or it used to be called Beno Solutions, and these 2 companies are related to call centers, as is Call for Sure, one of his previous appointments. But one of the more obvious ones is SMRS Consultants UK Limited. And I've seen that as a description before. In the safeapps.com website, it is down as a quick contact link for this company. And that's where I downloaded the software from, and Beno is the web service description for that company. The 3 addresses of the various companies given in Aberdeen are all within easy walking distance of one another. So if I use the phone number given against SparkGen Limited and I search for it on Facebook, I find Sushant's Facebook page. And he's a very busy guy because not only is he director of 3 active companies, he is also employed by BP, IBM, and he's attended quite a number of colleges in his past, including Liverpool John Moores University, and his background shows that he was schooled in around the New Delhi region in Gurgaon. So when a scammer connected to my PC, they described their company as being Max PC Experts. I have no idea whether they are definitely related to other companies, but I do have an IP address which seems to be from Noida. And when I look at Benovellient Technologies, they too seem to be in Noida. Now the 2 companies may or may not be connected, but from the description of Benovellient, they do describe themselves as offering remote PC connectivity so that they can diagnose and run utilities to check the computer. So it may well be the same company, although I can't prove this for certain. This is their address according to their website, and it's a central region of Noida. So what about Sushant's most recent business venture called Long Run Software? Well, a quick Google search throws up a number of websites, but top of the list is something called ultraheal.com. And if you look in the top left, you can see this is belonging to Long Run Software. So what does Ultraheal do? Well, their downloads show only one bit of software called Ultraheal PC Security. I've had a look at this. As far as I can tell, it's a legitimate piece of software. But elsewhere on the site, under the Microsoft Gold partner, it describes their location, which is a different place in New Delhi. But when you expand the read more, unfortunately, it also refers to the system diagnostic tool that we saw earlier. So this long run software has definitely still got connections with the fake software that we saw earlier. So again, if I look under Ultraheal's website, there's a UK and a US phone number. If I search for the UK number, not only does this number appear on Ultraheal's own website, but I also see it related to scam, and this is under malware tips, and in this case, it's definitely associated with some pop-ups. In this case, someone has reported that the number appears on a pop-up ad for virus removal, and further down the Google list, I also see the number associated under a warning under the AVG support community. In this case, a customer saw the pop-up under a Windows 8.1 PC, and again, the same number appears in another related website. Here, the website is called Advanced Anti-Malware, and they too have the same phone number as we saw in ultraheal.com, but they resell some of Long Run software. So all of these companies are also related, and as you can see, it has the same address in Gallowgate in Aberdeen as we saw in Sushant's portfolio of businesses. So from fake pop-ups to fake software, and a lot of different fake companies, and connections to call centers in India, Sushant Mato has got a lot of questions to answer. I've passed this information on to Action Fraud, who I hope will be able to take action before too long.